Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Monday. Today is Monday, December the 4th, 2023. I'm Jen.
And I'm Monique.
And
And
we
we
are
are
Gems
Gems
to
to Money.
Money. Yes, we are just two moms. We are just two go getters. We are just two financial professionals putting our minds together, using our skills and our talents in all things personal finance and taxes. Here to educate the masses, here to help people become free and educated, and all things in between. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in. As we do in the beginning, please like and share. We want as many viewers as possible because it's all about education. It's all about awareness, and we just want to tell the masses. So, how you doing today, Mo?
I'm doing a pretty good, I can say. A little ups and downs earlier, but I'm here. I'm can't complain. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Today was a low key day today. So I went to the gym. Kudos, claps up to me.
Yes,
If,
Jim.
if anybody who knows me personally, I'll tell you a little bit. I have had like a love-hate relationship with exercising, food, health, all of the above. Not saying that I don't think that they're important, but as all of us, we have things that we have ruts that we kind of get stuck in and we kind of don't want to get out of them and we make excuses. And so I decided to change the game. I decided to make some changes and just go. So I'm actually pretty proud of myself. This is day one. I'm starting again, but the sky's the limit. So I'm super excited. Let's see. I think we
That's
have
actually
a
that's I wanted to say that's actually good, Jen, because we oftentimes make New Year's resolutions. So I'm super proud that you decided to make that step ahead of time, and not wait till the new year. And it's nothing wrong with keep trying and keep going. I lost weight, gained weight, lost weight, gained weight as well. And that doesn't stop me from getting up and trying again. So it's all good.
absolutely. Let's see if we have any viewers. We have a couple of viewers. Let's see if we have any comments. All right. So we have Angel. She's saying good evening. Good evening, Angel. Thank you so much for tuning in to Gems to Money. Like I said before, share, share, share. Everybody, as people are coming in, share, like, subscribe. As you can see below on the screen, we do have a YouTube page, Gems, the number 2, Money, the number 23. So please log on. We're gonna not only do lives but also kind of create content to go in more into depth on some of these topics, more so than we do on our live, and all of that content will be on our YouTube page. So you need to make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's December, Monique. It is December. I am not ready. I am not ready at all. I mean, can anybody chime in? Are you ready for December? Did you blink and it was like December and you just thought it was like February a couple of days ago? Like, I'm not ready in the sense that I I just feel like I have so much more to do. Like I really feel like my year could have been a lot better. I mean, how about you, Monique?
I would say definitely it was just summertime, August for me. And now we're into December and planning for tax season because the tax season has arrived. It has arrived really, even though we're not officially able to e-file yet, but definitely around November, December is when I start like buckling down and getting things in order because it's like I said, tax season is here. So it was literally just the summertime, honestly, Jen, and we're ending December. So I definitely can relate. It's just not enough time, but it's time to get serious and focus because I have, a business to run in a couple months. Well, in a month or so, really.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And as you're talking, it kind of takes me back to thinking you were talking about to you it felt like it was just summertime, and it made me think about Gems to Money. We aired our first episode back in, what was it, July?
Yep.
And now we're on episode 8 and we have not gone crazy and we still have viewers chiming in, and it's just amazing, amazing, amazing. I mean, for those who chimed in last week, definitely comment. It definitely was a treat. The guests that we had, despite all of the technical difficulties, it definitely was a treat to have them. And, our aim is just to have more guests and give more insight. We're financial professionals at the core, but, we're moms. We're living in this world like you are as well. So if there's any topic that maybe we haven't touched on, or that maybe you want a little bit more detail about, let us know and we'll definitely consider it. We're always looking for new ideas. We're always looking for new ways to to disperse this information. And so, it's just amazing. It's just really amazing. But okay, back to the regularly scheduled program. Sorry, I digress. So December. What does December really mean to you, Monique, when you think about the month of December?
December is actually all about family to me, funny enough. I get super excited in December for one of the main reasons. Christmas, I do celebrate Christmas, and that's actually one of my favorite holidays. And I just really just get into another zone, another space. I love Christmas music. I like being around family. I like decorating. Just everything about it just puts me in a different space. But ultimately, one of the things that I just mentioned not too long ago is it's time to buckle down and get into go mode far as my business is concerned, because it's tax season. So, oh, definitely a little overwhelming with that piece. But December just brings so much joy over me because, again, I just instantly think of family and, helping others and giving back. It kind of spills right into converting from Thanksgiving into, December with the, like I said, the giving back piece of it. Because, I do things for the homeless on a regular basis. So that's kind of like, and then I start thinking about game plans and goals. That's probably the last thing as well. Um, because it's about to be the new year, we tend to think about New Year's resolutions and, you know, game plans and things like that. But what would you say, Jen? You kind of think that's fair to say about, buckling down with your finances and stuff in December? People think about.
Yeah. Just to go back a little bit, December, yeah, December, I do celebrate Christmas as well. And I love decorating. When my kids were younger, it was a lot more fun. But now, I feel like nobody else wants to decorate. I feel like nobody wants to help me. Or if they do, they want to do it in their own time. I posted a picture on my Instagram page story, showing my tree, saying happy holidays in progress, because the tree is not decorated. The tree is not decorated and the house is not decorated. But I definitely love this season, because it really brings out the generosity in people, the kindness in people, and the compassion in people. I love this season because, I'm able to spend time with my family, because I'm usually able to take a couple days off from work and really, really spend some dedicated time with them. And also, like you said, Monique, it is about reflecting, resetting, and just getting these goals written down, thought about, and executed. I personally believe you don't need to wait till January 1st until actually starting your goal. You can actually start now. And correct me if I'm wrong, Monique, it takes about 21 days to to build a habit. And so if you're starting at January 1, trying to build a habit, whatever it may be, whether it may be financial, health wise, spiritual, whatever, I think, Jan, you starting in January 1 might be a little too late. And
Mhm.
what's the likelihood that you're actually going to stick with it? So, you know, it's the end of the year. You know, it's almost the end of the year. We got 27, 26, 27 days. So, the one thing in our profession that we get and that we emphasize, like Monique said, is getting your financial house in order, making sure you at least have plans, you at least have goals, you're at least working towards something, and so some of the things that we often help out with is kind of creating a checklist for our clients and for other people that we may talk to in conversation so that they can be able to, start the new year staying on top of their finances. And so some of the things that are on that checklist, of course, number one, and maybe not number one, but the first I can think about is just maximizing that retirement contribution. You know, retirement contributions, I believe you can contribute up through when the taxes are due, right, Monique? You can contribute all the way up through like April for the current year in order to still get credit. Is it something like that? I don't. Y'all know I'm new to this. I'm trying to figure it out. Um,
Yes, so you can actually contribute if you're an employee up to 22.5. Of course, that's obviously a percentage of your salary. So depending on where you're at in your salary, 22.5 might not be, what you can do. But if you have a more high end paying job, then of course you can max it out up to 22.5. And it's actually a tax benefit for you because it breaks up your tax liability when you go to file your taxes, especially if you are an itemizer and not taking the standard deduction. This can definitely benefit you in many, many ways.
Absolutely. And even if you don't have like a workplace, you can also take advantage of opening or maximizing out your IRA accounts as well,
Mhm.
right? Do they have a benefit too, like your traditional IRA?
Yeah, so you'll absolutely have that same benefit to be able to again max out your IRA, even if you're self-employed. So long as you have some type of retirement plan in place, you can definitely max it out and still get that same effect. So I always say if you especially if you are a W-2 person and you do work, it's always good to see what benefits your job has. I know oftentimes if you're on the lowest scale of income wise, we're like, oh, I don't want to have federal taken out. I don't want to have state taken out. I just want the FICA and the Medicaid take out. I don't want no benefits. I don't want no life insurance. I don't want no dental. I don't want no vision. I don't want anything, right? But it'll actually benefit you long term because if you never plan on becoming a business owner, and there's nothing wrong with that, if you plan on working a job, then we don't know if social security or pensions are going to be around long term, right? So if your job does offer a 401k plan, it would be in the best interest for you to sign up for it and contribute something, especially if your job is going to match dollar for dollar. We've talked about that before as well. So maybe you don't have 6% to contribute. Maybe you just have 3. But if your employee or say, hey, I'm going to match 3% as well, that's a steal, Jen. I mean, why wouldn't you do that? And if you at your job for 10 years and then you go to look at your 401k, you're like, damn, I really saved that much money. You know what I mean? So I would just highly suggest that take advantage of them benefits. Don't just let them bypass you, especially if you're going to be working that job for an extended period of time, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was gonna say something, I totally forgot. No, no lie. We're all real up in here. Ain't nothing scripted. I totally forgot exactly what I was gonna say. But as far as, okay, so we can move on to the next thing. If you have children
Mm-hmm.
that are going, or that are college bound, or maybe are in private school and you're paying a tuition, definitely make sure you're contributing to your state's 529 plan. I know they have tax benefits that could benefit you in the current tax year. Obviously there are some restrictions with those 529 plans. Most importantly, that they have to be used on school qualified education costs. In the beginning, they used to just allow you to use it for college, but now they've expanded it because I'm assuming because a lot more parents are sending their kids to private schools with college tuition. I mean, with not college, with tuitions, and wanting some type of benefit because of that, the same as if they were going to college. And so that definitely is something that you should also consider. Um, if you have children and you're not sure what their plans are and they're going to public school, definitely create a custodial account for them. Those accounts would be like an UTMA, a UTMA, Uniform Transfers to Minors Act is the actual name, or an UGMA account. Those accounts are a little less restricted. Now, I will say they don't have any immediate tax benefits, but just think about it like this: the money is unrestricted. So if you're putting, like, if you put like $10,000 into your child's custodial UGMA or UPMA account, and they decide at 18 that they don't want to go to college, but they want to take up a trade, or they want to start their own business, which is perfectly fine. You can be able to use those funds to be able to help them get a jump start, and there will be no tax penalties on that. So that's just another avenue. Like I said, no tax benefits there, but that's just another avenue if you're thinking about really preparing for your children's future. Um, and let's see, anything else along with that, with those child, accounts, Monique? Anything else you want to add on there?
That's actually a good one, Jen, because we often think about what can we give our kids as gifts for Christmas, right? This new generation, only thing they want is money, 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 money. You hear them say, "I just want money. I just want money." Like they want to, do their own thing. So it's like, what other way to show your appreciation to your child to say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and open you up a custodial account. I'm going to go ahead and open you up a college fund." So when that time comes for you to go off to college, you don't have to worry. You don't have to get any student loans, right? So that's a dope gift, Jen, to actually gift your child for Christmas. Honestly,
Absolutely. And guess what? That UGMA custodial account can also be used, because how that account works is that once they reach age of majority, they can gain possession over the account. And what it actually
mm-hmm.
can do is, if you have trained them correctly, and if you have a financial professional in your life that really cares about that legacy building, they can kind of guide your children into being able to put that money into a program so that it can continually be growing. Even, let's just say 18, 21, they don't really know what they want to do. I don't
Right.
necessarily, it depends on the kid. It depends on the parent-child relationship, but you're the parent, so you know your child, and you know if you were to give $10,000 to your child at 21 and they don't know what they're gonna do, you're you can probably guess how responsible they might be with it. But just turning that into maybe taking a portion of that and reinvesting it, and then that'll give them a first hand account as far as how to build that generational wealth, so that when they grow up and they become established and they have families, they can do the same for their families. And so that's another way that those accounts can be used. And that's why, I mean, I personally prefer those accounts because, I mean, let's just face it, nowadays a lot of kids, there are kids, still going to colleges, but a lot of kids are also branching off, starting their own businesses, doing things that are non-traditional. And so why waste all of that money that you put into a college plan, hoping that they will go to college, but then they don't. And then you got to find somebody to transfer that money to because you don't get it back. If you've put it into a structured 529 plan, it has to be for college or K through 12 education expenses. And if you don't, and if that child doesn't use it, then if you have another child or they have another sibling, then they can use it. But you cannot just be like, I'm gonna take the money out without having some type of tax penalty. So that's why I really like the UTMA and the UGMA accounts, because they give you the flexibility to really use the money, whichever way it needs to be used at that time. And so, speaking of making sure that your children are good, making sure that instead of, like Monique said, buying them the latest Jordans, buying them the latest Gucci. I don't know. Do we buy our kids? People buy their kids Gucci. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
making they do. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know. I mean, I honestly didn't know. But just taking a step back and making sure that you are teaching your child how to understand money, teaching your child how to grow their money. And that's another way that these accounts can help foster that. Because let's just face it, we want the best for our children, but they're only going to mimic what they see. So if we're
Absolutely.
not providing an example that, exemplifies, really building generational wealth and really thinking future forward and not just for right now, then we can't really expect our children to do so. Another thing that we kind of talk about with our clients and other people and getting ready for, this end of the year, kind of wrapping it up, is just making sure that you're adequately insured. I know for those who have jobs, those W-2 people who have employer-sponsored health plans, open enrollment just recently ended, or maybe it may be ending sometime this week or last week, and just making sure your health insurance coverages are what it is that you want, making sure you review them, making sure you review the costs, and as well as that, all of your insurances, your auto insurance, your homeowners insurance, and especially your life insurance. You want to talk a little bit about that, Monique, how they can make sure they're adequately insured?
Yes, for sure. So, again, like Jen said, just making sure that all of your insurances, you have enough coverage, you reviewing your documents. We tend to sign up for stuff and don't read. So we want to make sure that if you don't really understand the documentation, you want to sit down with somebody so they can help you understand what you're signing up for, right? So that kind of ties into the life insurance as well. You want to sit down with a professional to go over, your different options. We hear a lot of clients say, "Oh, well, yeah, I signed up through life insurance through my job, But do you know what you all have? Do you know if you're the owner of the policy? Do you know if that policy is going to pay out, God forbid something happens, right? So it's good to get with a professional and consider getting insurance outside of your job as well. We're going to provide the best solution for you based on your situation. You're supposed to have 6 to 10 times your annual salary. I mean, again, most people don't know that, so they're underinsured. We also, make sure that you have any additional riders on your policy. We just create the full picture. We just sit down and do a needs analysis for our clients to make sure that they're properly protected, make sure the whole family is properly protected as well. Just because you have insurance, some people are like, oh, well, my kids don't need insurance. And I'll be looking like, well, why you need insurance, but the kids don't need insurance, or why the kids need insurance and you don't need insurance. Like, we just want to make sure that everyone is covered and that you have the right type of protection and the right amount of protection. So being able to sit down with a licensed coach to again help you and guide you through that paperwork and all that rumble jumblage, because again, no one's gonna sit and read a 35-page document. We just don't. It's just reality. So if you can get someone to help you navigate through that, that'll be in your best interest as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And not just for like the individual, also for the business owners out here. A lot of
Mhm.
times when we open these businesses, we're so excited that we got an LLC and we're opening a business and we're making money, and you don't even think about making sure you have the proper insurances in place to make sure that in any event something should happen to you as the business owner, that the business will still continue. So across the board, just make sure that you are properly insured. Look over all of your documents, ask questions, ask questions. And if you can't find somebody to give you answers, call us. We'll be able to help you out for sure, for sure, for sure. And so let's just see, do we have any more comments? As I stated before, if you have any questions as we're on this podcast today, please put it in the comments, and we'll be glad to get to it, to answer it, to give some insight. You know, we like audience participation. And so, in addition to being adequately insured, also making sure we look at that budget. We talked about budgeting a couple of months ago, but a budget is not something that you just create and then you don't look at anymore. No, you got to constantly be looking at it. And if you haven't looked at it since January, then you probably should take a look at it, because life changes. Things change in your life. You may have bought a house, you may have had a baby, you may have gotten married, you may have gotten divorced, and things change in your life. And as with life, your finances change as well, along with those life changes. And so just making sure that your budget still makes sense to you and that it still works for you. And if you could tweak some things, maybe you've paid some debt off and now you can put some more into like your retirement, or maybe opening a short-term investment account, something that you weren't able to do at the beginning of the year. Definitely take a look at your budget, look at it line by line, be honest with yourself. If things need to be cut off, if people need to be cut off of your budget, definitely take a look at it, fine tune it with a fine tune comb. And and as always, if you have any questions, definitely ask. For sure, for sure, for sure. And did you want to add something about budgeting or about your
Yeah,
budget,
I
Monique?
did. I did. You touched on something about sitting down and creating a budget and revisiting the budget, not just once, twice, but multiple times. Um, I can tie this into the life insurance as well. We can actually pay our life insurance up for 3 months or for the whole year. So if you feel like, hey, I know I need life insurance, but I really can't afford that monthly payment. At the beginning of the year to do your taxes, if you know you're due a refund, and I know everybody's situation is different, but if you know that you're due a refund, what is the first thing that most people do? They pay off that, or they go, spend a little money on new house items, new clothes, take trips, right? But one of the things that you can do is say, hey, Monique, hey, Jen, I just want to go ahead and pay my life insurance for the year. And then you can continue to do that over and over every tax season, right? So creating that budget and revisit it, and it's really key, because again, you can just knock some stuff right out of the park front hand, and then again, you never have to worry about it again.
Yeah. It's good to be proactive. It's definitely good to be proactive. It's definitely helps relieve stress, and it helps motivate. So what else do we normally talk about with our people? Oh, creating a legacy. That's the big one.
Hmm.
I think that's
That's a
most
big one. Yeah.
important. Yeah, that's most important more than anything we've talked about up to this point is creating a legacy. And what do we talk about? What are we talking about when we say create a legacy? Well, what is your legacy? Your financial legacy, of course, is what you leave behind in terms of your assets that you can carry on to those who are still, those generations that come behind you. And so ways to do that, of course, is to have a will, your power of attorney, your medical directives, things like that in place so that
Hmm.
when the time comes, you won't have to worry about it. And I know a lot of times when we talk to people about that, people think that you have to be like old and almost about to transition and or before you think about these things, or you at least have to be older to think about these things, but you really don't. You can be middle aged, you can be
Hmm.
a young adult, and just having something in place, especially if you have children, especially if you have people that are you're leaving the legacy for. I would stress the importance of just getting those documents in place. If you don't know how to get them, going around and getting the resources that you need to be able to get more information on how to put those documents in place. All of that is super, super important because at the end of the day, all of these other things that were helping you get checked off won't mean anything when you pass away if you don't have these very simple documents in place. They may mean something, but they may not mean what you intend for them to mean. And they may not do what you intend for them to do. So I think that's super, super important as far as getting ready for the end of the year, as far as December, not just thinking about holidays, but thinking about setting yourself up so that you can really knock the next year out with no problem. Right, Monique?
Yeah, Jen. Yeah, you're right, because you can always set them things in motion now and revisit them. The same thing that we were talking about with the budget. So, what you have in your will right now may not necessarily be in 3 years, but you can, long as you have that lawyer on standby, that legal professional on standby, you can always revisit that document and update it as many times as you need to, honestly. So it's super important just to have your affairs in order. I know oftentimes we don't want to talk about the after or what's going to happen after we leave here. It's like it's a touchy subject, but reality is the one thing that we are promised is death. I mean, it's just what it is. We were born with a birth date. That's what's on our birth certificate, but we actually do not have a death date. And um, a lot of people do live in the moment, but a lot of people are overthinkers and do think past go and can look, oh yeah, I do need to get my affairs in order because I don't want it to be a complete disaster when that time comes, family fighting and feuding and people looking for this document, and it's just too much chaos, right? There's nothing wrong with a little bit of chaos, but a big amount of chaos when we have all of the tools and resources right here to be able to help us navigate through this thing.
And you know what, Monique? As you were talking about that, it made me think of something else. Just making sure that, with all these documents, especially your insurance documents, you're benefiting these things to other people. So just making sure your beneficiaries are up to date. Making sure that they are aware that they are beneficiaries. I know that we do something a little extra special where we make sure that not only their beneficiaries are aware, but that they have emergency contacts as well, just to make sure your family gets that benefit. Just knowing the difference between irrevocable and revocable beneficiaries. Revocable beneficiaries, of course, is your standard kind of beneficiaries where, you as the policy holder, whatever policy you have, can change the beneficiaries without anybody else's consent. And that's the standard that normally is used when people prepare solutions in terms of like insurances and whatnot. Irrevocable, of course, is when the beneficiary cannot be changed unless it's in writing and it's approved by the designated beneficiary. That's a lot more difficult to change. So just being aware of all of that, and that's included also like on your 401ks, they ask you for beneficiary information, because all of those assets are assets that are going to transfer to someone, if they exist when you pass away. And so you should designate beneficiaries. Don't ever, in my personal opinion, I'm not telling you what to do. In my personal opinion, don't ever have any assets out there that you don't designate to somebody, because you don't know, like Monique said, you don't know when your time is done. And if you don't have a designee, beneficiary for these assets to go to, they're just going to go to the state. And I don't think that you have worked as hard as you do for these assets just to go out in the sky or go back to the company that you got them from or whatever. So I think that's important too.
That's great, Jen. Yeah. Point.
Absolutely. Do we have any let's see, do we have any comments? It's quiet today out here in those social media streets. I guess everybody's holiday shopping.
I was at the market today, but I went pretty early. Like I'm young, but I'm old, and I need to get out at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning with the old folk because I can't I can't. It just be too chaotic throughout the day, and I'm an introvert extrovert person, so, and I have social anxiety, so I have to like get it done when there's nobody outside, if possible, if possible. So
Yeah, I get it. I like to do that too. I like to get my shopping done earlier in the day. Just because I like a seamless experience. I don't, I like to go in the store, get what I need to get, check out, and get in my car. I don't
Mm-hmm.
really prefer waiting in lines and being annoyed and people bumping into you in the aisles, and not saying excuse me. That might just be a personal thing for me. But anyway, I just like a seamless experience. And so I purposely go out, whether it's holiday shopping, supermarket shopping, whatever kind of shopping. I try to go as soon as the store opens if I can, or just
Mm-hmm.
go at random times during the day that I know the majority of people are not there because they're at work. And so yeah. My
Mm-hmm.
oldest daughter, she don't care about that. She'll go right in the middle of rush hour to the supermarket. Like we just went to the supermarket right in the height of rush hour, like around like 5 o'clock, a little after. And she was like, why is there so many people here? I was like, because people are getting off of work and they have the same idea as you. Go to the grocery store, get some
Right.
food and other stuff, and go home, you know? And for anybody who lives in the Owings Mills area, y'all already know that whole section over there by Costco's and Giant and all them places. I try to avoid those places between like
Mm-hmm.
4 to like 7 during the week,
Yeah.
and especially on Sundays, because I don't know. Costco bring out the crazy in people. I just know. I'm a BJ's kind of girl, but Costco's brings out the crazy in people. I have experienced being in Costco's with my parents. So I just be like, no, thank you. Oh my goodness. Oh, you know what? I also remembered, Monique. Um, and because we're talking about taxes too, make sure you review your tax withholdings. And so you say, how do I review my tax withholdings? What is a tax withholding? What are you talking about? So pretty much when you work a job, when you're a W-2 employee, you have to fill out a form as part of your onboarding as an employee. And that basically tells the IRS, okay, I want you to take out this amount out of my paycheck, every paycheck, and the state out of my paycheck, depending on different factors. And so the thing about that is, come tax time at the end of the year, if they've taken out too much, you would get a refund. If they haven't
Mm-hmm.
taken out enough, of course you have to pay. And so what, I'm sure Monique tells her tax clients this, and I know I talk about it in basic conversation when people talk about, why am I always paying so many taxes? Why do I always have to pay? I always have to pay. And what I first tell people is check your withholdings. Check your withholdings, and because think about it like this. We are allowing the IRS and the state to hold that money all year, only for them to either give it back to us or for us to
Mm-hmm.
end up having to pay more. So
Mm-hmm.
if it's in the direction where you normally get a refund, why not reduce, what is it? Why not a what is it? Increase your withholdings, I think, on it. Why not increase your withholdings so that the amount of money coming out of your check is less? That way, at the end of the tax year, when you get your taxes done, it kind of evens out, or you don't have that much of a refund. And I know some people will be like, what are you talking about? I want a refund. Okay. All right. You want a refund, but go ahead, Monique. You the 14-year veteran. You go ahead. You take that.
So everybody's situation is different. We have to keep that in the forefront of our head. So while we all want a refund, we all do not get a refund. We don't qualify for a refund because if you're a single, let's just use a single person and you're a W-2 employee, unfortunately, you have nothing to break up your tax liability unless you have a mortgage or you're an itemizer. So you can write off charity and mileage and, scrubs and this and that. But I had a client actually text me yesterday and was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to file taxes because I really didn't work. And I said, well, we still need to sit down and see all of what you made, because people get this misconception that they only worked a certain amount of months that they don't have to file, but it's really how much you made within the months, right? So I was explaining to her that she, depending on what tax bracket she fell into, and that's another thing as well, the tax brackets have changed for 2023. You can qualify for earned income credit for yourself, and or if you had any withholdings, like you said, taken out of your paychecks, you can recoup that money as well. She completely did not know that. Like, you know what I mean? So we want to just first identify that everybody's situation is different. But yes, if you can also elect for them to take out additional withholdings just to be on the safe side, right? Because the W-4 forms changed about 2 years ago and has been tripping a lot of people up, and they've not been letting the federal government take out enough taxes. So you can always elect for them to take out a little more. So when you get to tax time, it won't be that situation like you said, Jen. Oh, well, why am I owing? Why am I owing? Is either one, you didn't have enough withholdings, or two, you don't have anything to break up your tax liability, which is maybe dependents, any credits, or any itemized deductions.
Yeah. It's all it's you got to understand how it all works in order to make the best decision that's best for you. And I know, unfortunately, a lot of people either are willfully ignorant, they don't want to know,
Mm-hmm.
or they just want a payday, and that's not necessarily how it works.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was good. That was definitely good. So in terms of, like, going back to your investments, going back to your retirements, maximizing your retirements. Also review your investment portfolios. So I'm talking about short-term investments. I'm talking about your retirement assets that you're investing. Definitely take a look at your portfolio. What is your portfolio? That is the different funds or stocks that your money is invested in. And for 401ks or employee-sponsored retirement plans, usually that is pre-selected for you. But if you have online access, which I think a lot of companies nowadays, because of COVID, have online access to this information, you can look and you can see what assets and what funds your money is invested in, and just get a determination of whether that works for you. I know with my investment clients, what we do to establish suitability is we do like a risk profile. So we ask them a series of questions to determine how sensitive they are to risk, and what it is they really want to do with this money in this type of account. And so definitely revisit your investment portfolios, revisit your retirement portfolios. And of course, if you don't know how to do this, you should be able, for those employee sponsored programs, you should be able to talk to your HR department, and they should be able to at least give you a 1-800 number of the brokerage company that is handling all of your assets. If you can't get any headway from them, because I know sometimes that is the case, ask a licensed professional. Reach out to us. You know, we can definitely answer those basic questions for you, because you should have a right to know. You should have a right to know. And of course, if your investment portfolio or your retirement portfolio is not invested to achieve the benefit that you're expecting, you always have the option to change it. And don't ever let anybody tell you you can't, but just get an understanding of what the effects are by changing it. But you are more than welcome to change it. And that is definitely something that you should add to that checklist. Definitely, I'm all about, what's the word? Visibility, I guess that's the word. Making sure all of these different things that we talked about, all of these different documents that we talked about, understanding, maybe not word for word, term for term, but getting a general understanding of what it is that's going on in these documents, because you've signed, you've given authorization for these documents, for these solutions, and you should understand how they work, so that when they begin to not work the way you expected, you can know, okay, I need to change. I need to pivot. I need to do something different. But if you don't know, then you're just going to be willfully leaving your assets in places that aren't going to benefit you. And you work too hard. You work too hard to gain these assets for you to put them in programs that don't benefit you. So I encourage, ask questions. You know, HR should know a lot of the employee sponsored services. HR should be your pinpoint, because they're the ones that delve out this information. Obviously, for the services that we specifically help with, you can definitely ask us, email us. Um, if you have our cell numbers, definitely reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to help you. It's December, it's almost the end of the year, and just like we want to get ourselves together and make sure that we're good and that we're moving in a forward path going into the next year, we want you to do so as well. And so, Monique, did you have any final words or anything else you wanted to say?
No, Jen, you kind of took us home with your gems. But no, overall, yes, we're just here to help you, to guide you, and to help you understand things that you may just not understand. That's just not your lane, right? So that's what we're here for. And I wanted to put in there, don't be afraid to reach out to professionals. And when I say afraid, thinking, oh, I gotta pay all of this money, you get what I'm saying, to be able to sit down with somebody. Just don't be afraid. It's not that intense, right? Sometimes we shy away from not wanting to sit down and talk to someone, and would rather go to our cousins, our sisters, and TT and Pookie and Ray Ray and all of them, and that's fine. But we also just need to have that professional in your Rolodex, in your back pocket as well. And don't be afraid that it's going to cost you all of these astronomical amounts of dollars just to get the resources that you need. But we're definitely here. So, Jen,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
are.
Oh, okay. I'm Jen.
And I'm Monique.
And we are
And we are Gems to
Gems
Money.
for Money. All right, guys, this is a wrap. As always, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Yep, same time. Bye.
Sweetheart.